Margot Robbie is one of the most acclaimed and coveted actresses working in Hollywood today, so grab your popcorn because it's time for our countdown of the best Margot Robbie movies. Number 10, Dreamland. Starring Margot Robbie, of course she's a force on screen. She is great in almost everything that she's in. And Finn Cole also did great job. Both of them play off each other very well. Finn Cole playing Eugene Evans. He is living in this Dust Bowl era of Texas. And of course, he has these big dreams. He wants to get out of this little, small, crappy town. Allison Wales, played by Margot Robbie, comes into his life. And of course, being this 25-year-old guy who's never been outside of his hometown and is wanting adventure, comes Allison Wales into his life. Of course she is like the answer to his prayers. This 25-year-old who wants to talk to women, who wants the life of adventure, she is the answer all of those dreams. Dreamland is a 2019 American thriller film directed by Miles Urus-Berafit. Number 9, Terminal. Terminal is a mystery thriller directed by Von Stein and stars Margot Robbie, Mike Myers, and Simon Pegg. The story of Terminal is divided by a few characters and their connection with a somewhat insane waitress played by Margot Robbie. We have two hitmen who take on a contract from an infamous crime boss named Franklin, a schoolteacher played by Simon Pegg, who's terminally ill and is considering suicide. And then there's the story about the waitress. Margot Robbie is great and charming as always, and this is absolutely another magnificent performance of Margot Robbie. The film is mysterious, and the interaction between the characters is very entertaining. Number 8, The Legend of Tarzan. The Legend of Tarzan is directed by David Yates, the man who brought us some of the best Harry Potter films, and stars Alexander Skarsgård as the screaming, yelling, ape-loving guy who swings around and vines, who since becomes civilized. He's married to Jane, played by Margot Robbie, live in a beautiful home in England, but he gets called back to the jungle when this scheme is brought about by Christoph Waltz's character that enslaves an entire population of people. He's got to dig inside himself to revert back to that primal instinct that he once had to try to save the jungle once again. Number 7, I, Tonya. It's a sport biography, but told in a very cool vibe with a lot of dark humor and stylish filmmaking choices. The main narrative is framed by a fictional interview situation, which two dates Tonya Harding, her mother Lavona, and her ex-husband Jeff Gillooly retell what happened back in the 80s and 90s. From there, we jump to the important moments in their lives, or at least important for this story, which is presented as something that can be true or false at certain moments. I, Tonya was one of Robbie's best performances, netting her another Oscar nomination and winning the Critics' Choice Award for her portrayal of Tonya Harding. Number 6, Suicide Squad.
Hi, boys.
Hard-ass Amanda Waller uses the fear that Superman's power instills to bully the U.S. government, letting her assemble Task Force X, a group of their most dangerous incarcerated criminals who they don't mind sending on suicide missions. After the stylistic intros of Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and the rest, it's hard not to be pumped up and ready to watch them go nuts on the villain. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. She was exactly like the animated series character. She did a great job capturing that character's unhinged insanity. She seemed to instantly capture the charm and crazy that has made the character so beloved with fans. She was so good. In fact, she's getting her own spin-off film titled Birds of Prey. Suicide Squad is a 2016 American superhero film based on the DC Comics supervillain team of the same name. The film grossed over $746 million worldwide, making it the 10th highest grossing film of 2016 and a standalone sequel to Suicide Squad in 2021. Number 5, Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey sees Margot Robbie once again reprising her role as Harley Quinn. She was easily the best part of Suicide Squad, so it only makes sense. And after breaking up with the Joker, she joins Black Canary, Huntress, and Renee Montoya to save a young girl from an evil crime lord, also known as Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor. Margot Robbie is once again fantastic as Harley Quinn. I can't imagine a better portrayal of her in live action. She's great in the fight scenes. She's suitably psychotic and unhinged in all the right ways. The film's centered on Harley, and the first 20 minutes of the movie is basically she's very bitter about the Joker, and she's causing a lot of problems as usual. Where this movie shines is its action sequences. A lot of the fight scenes are filmed very wide. You can see everything that's going on. The stunts are really impressive. It's also a very colorful movie. The cinematography and the color palette is really expressive. It's a really impressive looking movie, and it is a fun movie to watch if you want to sit back and watch these people kick people in the face a lot. Number 4, Z for Zachariah. Z for Zachariah is a post-apocalyptic tale that is based on a book with the same title, and where a young woman played by Margot Robbie has survived a nuclear holocaust and is now living by herself on a farm with a dog. However, one day she finds a civil engineer played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, who gets sick after deciding to dive into a lake, so she has to take him back home, and what seems to be the only two people in the world start surviving together. However, everything changes the moment that third character is introduced, and that is Chris Pine's character. It then dives into this cliché love triangle story. The movie is a slow burden, where we don't get the background on everything that happened and how they got there. We don't see any other people's viewpoints. Literally, there is only 3 people in the cast, and what we're seeing is them survive. Number 3, Babylon. Now, I've got to start off by saying this movie will not be for everyone. This is a hard, R-rated movie. The movie's about 3 people's lives during Hollywood's transition period between silent movies to sound movies in the late 1920s. This is a perfect blend between Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Wolf of Wall Street. But this movie also doesn't just dive into the greatness of Hollywood, it also does dive into the darker, wilder, more insane and debauchery side of anything in that nature. This movie is 3 hours long, and it's just packed up to the brim of madness. It's just crazy. We have a lot of nudity, we have drugs, and there are big parties in this movie. Every 5 minutes, there's just madness and mayhem on film, sets with hundreds, if not thousands of extras, and also there's a ton of blood and ton of violence. If you love cinema, I think you will enjoy it. Number 2, Focus. Focus stars Will Smith and Margot Robbie, and this movie about con men training a con woman to be a better con woman, and of course they eventually fall for each other, or do they conning each other the entire time? You can really enjoy this movie purely based on the stars' chemistry, their charisma, the dialogue, and how good this movie looked. This movie has excellent cinematography and lighting. Will Smith and Margot Robbie are excellent in this movie. They were very well together, and they have very compelling characters. Before we unveil number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Number 1, The Wolf of Wall Street. Leonardo DiCaprio was undeniably the star of the show here, playing real-life figure Jordan Belfort, and Margot Robbie had a key supporting role as his wife Naomi LaPaglia. Robbie became a household name seemingly overnight thanks to her breathtaking performance. In this movie, Leonardo DiCaprio plays a real-life person named Jordan Belfort. This guy is a stockbroker who lives to make money. I mean, it's all he thinks about day and night. He eventually starts his own agency, where he's got his own people working for him, including Jonah Hill. This movie explores that world of super-rich Wall Street brokers. There are so many fantastically entertaining scenes in this movie. Also, it has so much to say about the way people on Wall Street are back then and nowadays. Well, this is it. Thanks for watching.
If you like what you see, please subscribe.